Sukkah, Perek Daled, Mishnah Gimel. We mentioned in the first Mishnah of the Perek that Arova, the mitzvah of Arova, sometimes was on 6 days of Sukkot and sometimes on 7. The mitzvah of Arova, of taking the Arova around the Mizbeach, this mitzvah is not specifically mentioned in the Torah, but it's called Halacha LaMoshe Misinai. It was transmitted by Moshe Misinai. It's equivalent to a mitzvah min HaTorah, although not specifically mentioned in the Torah. So, says the Mishnah, Ketzad, how was Arova Shiva Ketzad? How was this mitzvah of Arova sometimes performed on 7 days of Sukkot? Yom Shvi Shel Arova, if the 7th day of the mitzvah of Arova, which we would call now Hoshana Rabbah, the 7th day of Sukkot, Shechal Yos b'Shabbos, if that day fell on Shabbos, then Arova Shiva. Every day of Sukkot they would perform this mitzvah and at the Beis HaMikdash of taking the Arova around the Mizbeach. U'sh'ah kol hayomim shisha. If Shabbos was on any of the other days of Sukkot, then Shisha, it would only be, the mitzvah Arova would only be taken for 6 days, but not on the Shabbos itself. Explains Tosfos Yontov, based on the Gemara, the people involved in the Arova were the Shluchei Bezdin, the emissaries of the Bezdin. They would take the Arova and pass it to the Kohanim, and the Kohanim would then encircle the Mizbeach. They were the only people involved in this mitzvah, and therefore, strictly speaking, we don't need to be concerned that they would forget that it was Shabbos and carry the Arova in Reshus HaRabim. Therefore, there's no reason why this mitzvah, the mitzvah of Arova, shouldn't be done on every day of Sukkot, irrespective of whether it was Shabbos or which day of Sukkot was the Shabbos. However, if that was the case, the concern was that people would be mezalzel in the mitzvah of lulav. They would belittle the mitzvah of lulav, which isn't always on all 7 days of Sukkot. Even at the time of the Beis HaMikdash, if it was not the first day, if Shabbos was not the first day, then whenever Shabbos during the days of Sukkot fell, the Arba Minim wouldn't be taken, and people may belittle the mitzvah of lulav. Therefore, they said that we cannot have this mitzvah of Arova always being taken on the 7 days. However, they wanted one day, one of the days of Sukkot, if it was Shabbos, that the mitzvah of Arova should be taken even on Shabbos, to show that it was equivalent to a min HaTorah, is Halacha LaMoshe Misinai. If they would have selected the first day, if the first day of Sukkot was on a Shabbos, then they would take the Arova around the Mizbeach, people will think, well, it may not be because it's a mitzvah, Halacha LaMoshe Misinai. Anyway, the lulav is being taken on a Shabbos, on the first day, at the time of the Beis HaMikdash. Similarly, people took, therefore the Arova was also being taken by the Kohanim, because the mitzvah of Arba Minim was being taken on that day. Therefore they said, we cannot select the first day. They therefore selected, rather than the first, the last day. So they selected the last day, which means if that last day fell on Shabbos, they would take the Arova to show that it is Halacha LaMoshe Misinai, it's equivalent to a mitzvah min HaTorah, and therefore it can be taken on Shabbos. However, any of the other days of Sukkot, if that was Shabbos, they would not take the mitzvah of Arova, it would not be taken by the Kohanim around the Mizbeach. The Bar Tanura concludes and says that, of course, nowadays, sadly, we don't have the Beis HaMikdash, and we do take the Arova on Hoshana Rabbah, but this is only a minhag Nevi'im, it's a minhag established, a custom established by the prophets, and certainly it is not equivalent to a mitzvah min haTorah. That concludes the Mishnah.